Do you make your bed in the morning?
I don't.
I knew that.
If I left and someone went and prepared my bed, I'm like, why are you...
Who was here?
Yeah, you're messing with my feng shui.
Everything beautiful and gorgeous about me is something that a Black woman implemented in me. And it is the biggest reason as to why any chance that I get to uplift my sisters, I take it, and I take it swiftly.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's Imani, and we are back with CultureCon Uncut. Good morning.
Just start. Just go for it.
I think I've realized
What did you realize?
you're a special kind of chaos. You're chaotic.
It's a beautiful kind of chaos, though.
Yeah.
Some chaos actually works, you know? Some chaos actually bears order.
Like, what does your bedroom look like? Do you make your bed in the morning?
I don't.
I knew that.
Yeah, I hate,
I knew that.
I hate prepared beds. If I left and someone went and prepared my bed, I'm like, why are you...
Who was here?
Yeah, you're messing with my feng shui.
But what about when you're in a hotel and you leave, when you come back and the bed's not made? Like, how do you feel?
Okay, that's a little more frustrating. But at the same time, I'm like, why are the ends so tucked in that I'm now fighting with my bed?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, now I'm pulling it and I'm like...
Because I've realized there are certain friends that I have.
Yeah.
You're at the top of that list. Where there is
at the top of a chaos friends list.
You're always gonna arrive, but along the way, it's gonna be I left my phone in the cab, my wallet's in the elevator.
Flipped.
You thrive in this chaos.
The universe was born of chaos.
What does that mean?
As in, God was playing with planets and rocks, and then he goes, let there be. You love the fact I started with God.
I'm like, that
if
feels
I
like
did the
order.
Big Bang, she would have left me there. The Big Bang, yeah.
But what, yeah, because I'm like, then what made, the Big Bang is always so funny to me because it still needs a catalyst. But it's like, no, it just, like, it still needs something that starts it. It's just, they want to deny what started it.
I think it's more so, they're also talking about the fact that our human tendency to fill the void. We need a thing to have started it. We can't fathom nothing.
Well, because when you look at just science, because I think a lot of people try to separate spirituality and science.
No, not a lot of people. The church did that. We had this debate before.
We did, and we disagreed again.
We definitely did.
We disagreed again because I believe that even when you and I were talking about what was it? I was talking about the power of God because whenever someone's like, oh, Imani, you're just such a hard worker and you're so smart. I can't sit in that because I know it's not wholly true. I am very hardworking and I am very smart. Yeah. But there is a gap, a huge crevice between like where my humanity ends and what has been able to transpire in my life. That gap, and even beyond that gap, for me, is filled with God. And I am someone who, I actually am not someone who's like, if you don't believe what I believe, this is what I believe.
This is what works for me.
This is what works for me. Yeah. And this is what I have seen to be true.
Yeah.
And when I study and I live by this works for me. And so when people are like, no, it had to have been you. It had to, it's your man. I'm like, okay. Because I almost feel like people who are so passionate about convincing me that God isn't real.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you don't want to believe in God, Ike, then you live your life. For me, it's always the irony.
I believe
to
a certain extent. I consider myself more agnostic than anything. So I just don't think that there's only one way to get to him. There's so much history. History is too vast. And I think that it is very selective when it comes to Christianity. That's all. That's just my take. I think Christian history on, access to God is very selective. That's all. There's so much.
And only Christianity is selective.
Because all the other ones do not seem to think about pushing that narrative. They go, those people are them, those people are them. Christianity is the only one that goes, no, you're actually ridiculous. There's only one God.
I mean, Christians believe. But see, this is what I'm talking about. I can't even talk without you laughing at me. This is why I don't like to have these conversations.
At you. It's the face that you made.
We're gonna pivot.
It's the face you made.
I thought we could do this.
No, we can do this.
But if you're gonna patronize me,
I'm not. You made a face. You said, "Oh, okay." And
because
it's like you were about to dig into me.
I can just tell, and we talked about this. I can tell that you've had such a negative experience in a specific place. It's so obvious. It's almost like the woman who has dated just horrible men, and now every man is horrible, which is ironic to me because it's like when you try, I'm just going to say it, when you try a restaurant and the fried chicken is horrible, I highly doubt that you decide that you're never going to eat fried chicken again. But whenever someone goes so hard on a specific place that like only Christians do this, I'm like, but that's not true.
No, I'm not saying only Christians do that.
That's why I asked. I said only Christianity does this, and you go, well, no, yeah, Christians are the only ones who say that. And I'm like, well,
most of the world feels,
most of the world feels.
Like the minor.
You represent most of the world.
I don't represent most of the world. I'm not passionate about proving any Christians wrong. That's another thing.
I think that your threads say differently.
Oh, no, I'm not passionate about that. If it comes up, though, I definitely will have the conversation, but I don't think I want to go around saying, hey, like, stop going to your church. Like, your God is not working. Like, I'm not. I personally come from a nation with millions of people, and, it's the most Christian nation in the world, probably. They pray the hardest, but evidence shows
that
I don't know. If there were like, religious effort, result ratio, it just wouldn't, it wouldn't pan out.
I think the other thing that's kind of interesting is a lot of times when people are referring to Christians, I ask them if they've read the Bible.
Yeah.
And the reason I ask that is because a lot of things that people are attributing to Christians, if you're reading biblical texts, you actually see that actually resembles closer to the people who were the Pharisees, a very strict religious sect.
Yeah.
And Jesus actually had a lot of issue with the Pharisees. And so when I see conversations around, oh my gosh, you're eating chicken on the Sabbath, I'm like, oh, okay. You're based on one experience you've had with a group of people who might not necessarily be representing Jesus. So when I say Christian, I am talking about someone who is following the teachings of Jesus Christ. I am not talking about someone who is going around and judging, going around and condemning. And I think there's a very, very, very thin line, because the argument, and that's why I don't like to have it, is because usually when I'm talking to someone, they've had a really horrible experience with a very specific place or a church, or they were taught that, like, if you don't do this, you're going to hell.
Or a nation.
You've had an experience with an entire nation?
Not the entire nation, just the results of the nation. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. Every time you say something that is like, I have to just stop you, because so much of your argument is steeped in like such a maximalist place. It's like
it's actually no, it's not that maximal. Actually, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually keeping it. It's
and
more
you just said a nation.
Yeah, a
nation.
A nation in the sense of, again, if you look at the cumulative result of this particular religion, right? Its efforts, its past, its history, its deeds, some of the results that we're still reaping the beautiful benefits of. It's worth talking about. That's all I'm saying. Just some accountability. That's all.
I think it's worth talking about, and I also think it's worth including the weaponization of religion.
Yes.
And what I'm saying is, I don't think that everyone who says I'm a Christian, I don't think everyone.
No, of course not. That's what I'm saying. You're in a beautiful intersection in there.
Yeah,
You're like you just said, you're not going around judging people and condemning them, right? You're just saying you believe in the teachings of Jesus and his love and his empathy for people all around him and, his world.
Sure.
Right?
But yes, and I think that when you say things like, when you look at the overall deeds and the overall, I really think that context is important, because I do think that people have taken something and used it to justify very evil things.
Yes.
So we're not living in an absolute place where I'm like, that never happens.
No, absolutely. I understood.
Yeah.
But I think intrinsically every human being needs a core belief system to keep themselves grounded, right? And I think Jesus is also a very, very good core system. Yeah. I absolutely agree with that.
I think that humans were made to worship.
Yes.
And I think whether you are able to be self-aware enough to know what you worship something. And so the irony for me is people who are like, even if you're agnostic, even if you're atheist.
I'm barely agnostic. I'm still working on it.
I think that our heart posture was built to worship. And so I always am able to kind of like find it a little ironic when people are like, oh yeah, I don't believe in God. I'm like, no, you do. It's just you're calling.
You don't know what your God is.
Your God is your work. Your God is your image. Your God is your marriage. Your God is your, yourself, your ego.
No, but I love that you get passionate here. In every episode, you've been on fire.
Actually, I was pretty passionate about my theory about birth order. One of the things that gives me a lot of hope, obviously none of us know the answer, none of us can fill all the voids, but I do love that every core religion recognizes Jesus.
Yeah.
It's just the place that they put him, kind of how you're saying in terms of like how you get there.
Yeah.
But I love that in Islam and Judaism and Christianity, they can point that they believe that this person existed.
Yeah.
It's just what role that he played. And for me, that at least is like, we're all trying to like reach a conclusion. And I think for as I continue to develop, I don't know, one day, like I might literally go to like Bible college. You know, my parents met there.
You should.
I don't know. Is that my calling? I am very passionate.
You should do it. And I'm passionate with anything that has to do with theology from time to time. But
you
I think
might be a, a preacher.
Yeah, I might be a preacher in the making. Who knows? Like, you know, like
you almost need to be someone who's like, I actually don't believe any of this.
I need to see how the economy goes right now. I think pastors are getting a little shaky with their requests. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I need to make sure I don't have to lock the door to get my offerings. Okay, I'm just saying.
Bad actors.
Bad actors. But to go back to there's Jesus in every other religion, the beautiful thing there is that they all acknowledge it, but Christianity also overlaps. There's a lot of the Bible in other religions as well.
Yes. A
lot of those events happen simultaneously and they overlap, but they don't. I just feel like there is more reaction and there's more like, should I say, pushback from the Bible Society about those references. Like if you said like, you know, Noah's Ark, the flood happens in many stories, like, you know, Epic of Gilgamesh, all these other things. They all, you know, coincide, but there's just not a lot of acknowledgement of that.
There's also a hyper obsession with Christianity and pop culture. When someone stubs their toe, they say, Jesus Christ. Yeah. I've never heard someone stub their toe and say another.
Well, that's because they won.
What?
Christianity won. In the colonization game, they won. They won everything. It's like when someone says, why do you have to make everything about race? You would say that because you won. You see where I'm going with that?
No.
Like it became a significant part of world.
But if I'm Muslim.
Yeah. And you grew up watching movies that were made by Christian producers or Christian actors.
Because all movies are made by Christians.
Because the system,
most.
Don't make me have to say the system.
I'm like, you're going, okay, I'm like, okay, let's.
It's about to get real Dr. Umar.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, here we go.
Okay, we're going down a rabbit hole, right? And now I can see why you said we probably shouldn't do spirituality.
And, you know, and it's, I think your other argument, which is actually.
What's my other argument?
That just Christianity is it's only a product of colonization and that it never existed in Africa before the colonizers came, which is absolutely not true because it was actually being practiced in Egypt before they came. Uh-oh.
Was it?
Yeah.
You mean like Christianity in the form that we have it now or monotheism?
Nothing is in the form that we have of now because I wasn't alive then, but in the practice of following the teachings of, when I talk, and that's why I say, when I say Christianity, yeah. Because it's like when I say red and you say red, are we talking about red? When I talk about Christianity, I'm talking about following the teachings of Jesus Christ. Okay. That was happening in Egypt before colonization. Was Christianity weaponized?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And did the weapon prosper?
At times, yes.
At times?
Yeah, because there were even preachers who were passing out slave Bibles that took out core excerpts.
Yeah.
I mean, so that is weaponization. That's what I'm saying. There are examples.
You know, I know. I'm just saying that, like, to some extent, you think that Christianity is not something that is, like, generational.
I do, but
especially in the Black community.
I think as you actualize, you have decisions to make.
For most of us, that's how we learn about Christianity.
For most of us, that's how we learn how to live.
Yeah, for everything.
Parents.
It's imprinting. Yeah. So like, but I think that we are not giving imprinting enough credit for why we choose our spirituality.
I think it's up to every individual adult that once you've actualized to question the values, the imprinting of your life.
Have you questioned Christianity?
I have. I actually in high school told my parents, I don't know what I believe. And we have a Bible library in our house. We have a Quran. We have the Torah. Yeah. We have a Bible. And I asked them a lot of questions. I think you should ask questions.
No, you should ask questions.
And then you should come to your own conclusion. Because when I was talking to Charlemagne, he talks about that moment where he's sitting on the bed with his dad and his dad is saying, wait, so you're only going to have one woman? And Charlemagne being a child and being like, wait, I'm confused. Like, aren't I supposed to have? So you should, you are of course, affected by the decisions that your parents make. You then need to, in adulthood, look back, go to therapy, reflect. Do you believe those things?
Yeah.
And so for me, and that's why I started with, when I look at my life and people come up to me and tell me how great and smart and hardworking I am, I think if nothing else, CultureCon was probably the only way I could come this close to God, because I needed something so big, so massive, so hard that I think without CultureCon, I honestly would have walked around being like, and I know they're like, you can manifest. Okay. I'm just saying, without CultureCon, I probably would have. I did this I worked so hard. I didn't have any handouts. My parents I would have done that. CultureCon was
You would have done that.
Because
you would have said, I did this on my own.
I would have said I did this on my own. I would have said that, like, I did the internships where no one paid me.
Because no matter how much I question religion, I would still give it to God. Shocker, isn't it?
I think you're doing this to I think the whole time.
It's worth the conversation, though.
It is, and I love
it.
It is, and I'm actually glad I know we didn't expect, we started with chaos.
I know, and then we went into.
Maybe this was just supposed to sprout no matter what.
Exactly.
This has nothing to do with the guest that we're talking to today. I've been really fascinated with kind of like thriving in chaos. I'm talking to Justin Frett in a little bit.
Okay.
We're going to yap about how he deals with chaos.
That's what you're going to do? You're going to yap? Is this his official title? He's a yapper?
I mean, I feel like he's so many things. I feel like he's like a man about town, like knows something about if you needed a restaurant recommendation.
Okay.
It's going to be an exciting chat. We're going to yap. I'm excited to yap.
You know, I love yapping.
Are there any questions that you have for Justin?
Justin the yapper?
Man about town?
Man about town. How do I put this? I feel like I wouldn't say men. I don't even know.
A renaissance.
Like beings like Justin, usually what happens is because they're like a physical manifestation of a melting pot, right? I always wonder, like, does he have any tribal allegiances? Is there anything that he stands so strongly in that he's like, yeah, this is what? Because a man about town is a man about
Oh, I love
free.
Something that yeah. But everyone has cornerstones.
That's what I'm saying. So
Anchors.
like, I think you should find his cornerstone as anchor.
That's a really good question. I will ask him.
Definitely find his cornerstone, because man about town, but where is your specific village?
Okay.
You know?
All right. I'll report back.
Yeah, you do that. Tonight at 9.
I am so excited today. I am here with the one and only Justin Frett. Justin, we were talking earlier about you and we called you a Renaissance man.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, like I feel like if I needed a recommendation, I feel like if I needed to know where to go or how to be treated, I would text you.
Oh, that's an influencer.
He influenced, because every time I get on the internet, you are snatching my pearls and you're reminding me of my worth. And I want to know, have you had your daily phone call with God today?
That phone call is every single day.
Every single day.
It's very spontaneous. We had it on my Uber over here to keep me centered in that peace, because the day has been a day.
Oh, it's been a day.
Yes, it's been a day.
Can you tell us what you discussed?
I just discussed being grateful and centered even in the midst of chaos, accepting the things that I cannot change and trying to stay focused in what I can do. Like arriving here.
I'm a little like speechless, because we were just talking about chaos. And Ike, who is a friend of mine who helps us with hot topics, I think that he thrives in chaos. I think certain people do. They're like, they're not going to be there on time. They're going to kind of lose things along the way. Are you someone who, through the chaos, you find your center and you're calm, or do you thrive in the chaos?
I find my center and I'm calm. I'm really someone who's usually on top of things.
Okay.
I don't want to ever enter a space feeling like I wasn't prepared to step over the threshold. I want to walk in ready when I see you, ready when I'm greeting you, ready for whatever the task is at hand. So I'm looking at the calendar 50,000 times. I'm making sure that my outfit is okay. I'm prepared for how I'm going to sit and what angle I'm doing. Like all those things I'm extremely mindful of. I can function in chaos. I think especially in this industry and where the world is, and when you're running your own business and doing your own things, you have to be able to pivot. So I can function in the chaos, but I definitely don't want the chaos.
Right. We are not looking for the chaos.
No.
I used to have this theory, and I look back now and I'm like, girl, that made no sense. Is when I was going through CultureCon season, or when I was going through a really stressful season, I liked my apartment to be junky because it reflected like the chaos inside of me. And it was my little sister that said, no. This is feeding the chaos that's inside of you. You need to clean your place and it's going to kind of translate inside.
Yeah.
When you wake up, do you make your bed?
No.
Now that surprises me.
No.
Okay, so are you kind of a wild sleeper and you just leave it there? When you get back in bed, it's how you left it?
I'm not a wild sleeper, but it always felt like such a waste of time to me because it's going to be a mess again.
Right.
I've never really understood. I mean, I'll make the bed if I need to impress somebody who may come later, but beyond that, no.
So, and that's why I've got to be careful because I will create these rules that people who love order make their bed. And it's like,
I went through that phase.
Okay. And how did you overcome it?
I had to really investigate what was the purpose. Like, I went through that phase where I'm like, all the billionaires wake up at 5 a.m. I need to as well. And then there were a few days in that process of like, there's really no reason that I'm up this early.
Right.
There's nothing for me to do in this in between time. And I just had to figure out what is my own level of productivity, what is my own level of success, what is my own billionaire schedule.
Yes.
And I don't necessarily need to copy and paste someone else's, but definitely take some notes into what they're doing and what I can be doing that's efficient for me in my life.
Right.
But I don't need to, like, I love a Jack Anna. She's steaming the bed. She's making it every day. I love that for her. For me, it's going to be wrinkled and undone.
And until I love that because I think to your point, sometimes we see there's very few people who have done certain things and we assume that's the only way to do it. And I think you're such a great example. Like, I couldn't believe you were from New York.
People are always shocked by that.
I was like, there's no way.
Every time I'm walking down the road, somebody stopped. Oh my God, I didn't think you lived here. I was like, where did you think I was?
Yeah. So I'm from Atlanta. Okay. I am from the South. And your spirit to me gives me Southern. If you told me you were from Birmingham, Alabama, I would understand.
I mean, that's funny. My grandmother, God rest her soul, she was from Alabama.
See?
So some of the roots are in me, for
yes,
sure.
The seeds, for sure. So much of your advice, I mean, it just stops me in my track. I mean, I didn't have enough room for all of the quotes. I mean, I'm gonna read you some of these, and they're my favorite Justin-isms.
Memory lane.
Now, my favorite is that he bought you a drink, and you thought you were laid up with a provider.
Wrong. Yeah, that was the next thing I said. Wrong. Yeah.
And I loved it because I think it's such a perfect example of, again, making one thing mean another thing. Can you give me, just expanding on that, like, where do these lessons come from? Like, you are so, I hate that I'm going to be like, you're so wise. But you've got such a deep-seated wisdom within you. Where would you say that originates from?
I think it's layered. I think, it's being so closely raised with my elders in many ways that, some of their lessons have bled into my body. Growing up in church, I think I think church sometimes is where you meet some of the most wisest people in the world who maybe they didn't go to college, they have a formal education, but their vocabulary, they have a poetic way about them. They speak with such conviction. It's all of those things that are in me. And I'm an observer of life, and I reflect about what's going on around me, what's going on in the news, what's going on in my friendships, and just what's happening with me. And in terms of like that quote, for example, when I said it, I think sometime we're in such a rush to assume who somebody is that we don't really take the time for them to show us and prove to us who they are, especially when dealing with a man. So you're like, I'm going to wait for him to do this, and I'm waiting for him to show me this, and this is going to tell me what type of man he is. But then you actually skip the wait. And so he brought the drink. He's a provider. He gave you a compliment. So obviously he pays attention. He's thoughtful and he's kind. He opened the door one time. So, oh my God. Men still do that.
Right.
Until he doesn't do it anymore. Yeah.
And when you're giving, advice on relationships, we were talking earlier about being sensitive. Do you consider yourself a sensitive person?
When giving advice?
When you're thinking about relationships, like, because aren't these coming from, would you say these are coming from firsthand accounts, or are these coming from, like you were saying, observing friends, observing life?
It's a combination. In terms of like love and those things, I think I'm sensitive to an extent, but there's a certain context in which I would use the word sensitive. my heart is important, and the protection of it is important. And so I'm sensitive to who may try to affect how I feel about myself, my self-love, my experience in the world, my idea of what real love is and what it's supposed to act like. I'm sensitive about that. And so when I'm articulating it to you, it's not going to sound sensitive because I need you to know how I'm expected to be treated here.
Yeah.
So there might be a tone there. There might be a little of an aggression there. There might be, I might be a little firm in what it is that I'm saying, because to me, love is one of the most beautiful things in the world. And I cannot have anybody around me that ruins that idea. I cannot.
Justin, you are, listen, I think it's so refreshing because you say the quiet part out loud. Another video that I really loved was talking about just the importance of the differentiation that we're not attacking Black men, we're holding them accountable.
Big difference.
It's a big difference. And I'd love for you to expand on, I think, one of the parts of that video was we're using generalizations everywhere. And some things are very, very specific. I'd love for you just to talk about accountability versus calling someone out.
My feelings on this is always so mixed. One, I think a lot of the times we act willfully ignorant might be the term, but we're in an era of social media and visibility. And so these conversations feel heightened and they sometimes feel like there's so much more in your face. And so, of course, if it seems like it's always a subject matter that hits home for you, you now feel attacked. But there is a big difference between calling someone out and asking for accountability in the sense, one is what my intention is, and two, where did you start it at? And so for me, if we had a private discourse, I can address you privately. If you started it out in the public, like the context of that video, it must be addressed in that forum. And my love for us as a Black community, my love for Black women, my love for Black men makes me hungry for the opportunity to make sure that we can see ourselves in a better light. And the only way that that happens is when we call ourselves out, when we're not acting the way in which we are supposed to. So if that man feels attacked, I want him to feel as attacked as much as he attacked that Black woman when he raised his hand to her.
Come on.
I want you to feel that. So if she feels attacked because I don't think she's standing in her self-worth and her own self-value as a Black woman, and I want her to know that there's better out there for her, and part of having better means getting around a better man, I'm okay to say that. It's love in it. And I think when it lacks the love, it feels like an attack.
Yeah.
But I never lack that in anything that I'm talking, no matter what it is that I'm saying. Even when I'm speaking to the man that I do not like very much, is love in the commentary.
And my mom always used to say, love tells you the truth.
It does.
And sometimes the truth is, we're not going to do this anymore. We're not going to do this anymore. And I think it is the beginning of something very exciting for us as a community, because for so long it has been, we don't want to take our inside outside. But what ends up happening then is there's shame and there's secrets and there are people who are confused. And I think one of the things I love about your platform is that in the same kind of grid that we can talk about love and first dates and being exciting, we can also hold space for, but this is what we don't do. Yeah.
We have to have both of those conversations, and we can't do the kitchen table talk conversation anymore because it hasn't stayed in the house. You have people who are not within the community who have real generalizations and assumptions about how we move and how we navigate, how we love, how we operate in our families. And when we're having, Twitch creators emphasizing that and acting a certain way, it legitimizes the falsehoods of who we are. So it's not in the house anymore.
Right.
So it has to be addressed.
Right.
Privately and publicly.
I want to go back to New York, even though, I know you're a New Yorker.
Yes.
I know you're a New Yorker. Let's switch topics. I want to talk about the New York dating scene.
Okay.
So I came here. I've been here now for 12 years, and I love dating New York men.
Okay.
I love Northern men. What has been your dating experience in New York? Do you have a preference, Northern, Southern? I feel like you're about to say, Imani, we don't generalize.
No, I do.
Yep. Oh,
okay.
What's your preference?
Yeah. I prefer a level of Southern value.
Okay.
But I prefer a Northern presentation and energy.
Come on.
So you know what I mean? Southern value, but Northern everything else.
Wait, can I borrow this?
Yes, you may.
I'll credit you. But that's exactly what
it's on film.
Yes, that's right. You saw it here first. That's exactly how I feel.
That's what it is. Mm-hmm.
It's that.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're thinking about, I know the red flag and the green flags and all the flags and the icks and all the things. When you think about some of those core values, what are you looking for?
I was talking to somebody about what's really difficult about dating right now. And I said that the difficult thing for me is I still believe in love. I still believe it exists. I still believe that it's out there. I still believe I'm going to find it. I still believe that the one that is meant for me is going to find me in some really gorgeous way. I still believe in that concept. And I think so many people currently are so jaded from it that they get into relationship not operating from love because they don't believe that thing is going to be here anyway. So they're okay to lie. They're okay to cheat. They're okay to be behind your back. They're okay to move funny. They're okay to do things inappropriately because you're not there, because the love doesn't exist in their mind anyway. And something about being with somebody who's a little bit more traditional, that kind of Southern value, I find they still believe in it. And so they want to provide for you because they want to show up for you in that way. They want you to have a softer life, so they want to make sure that you live in the house that you really want to live in. They want to make sure that you feel protected, so they're opening the door. They're asking you, are you okay? They're doing the things to make you feel the love that we advocate for us to have.
Yes.
And so I'm like, oh, okay.
Yes. Yes. And I'm with you. I was actually just saying, like, I had to take a break from dating because I was getting a little jaded. And I feel like sometimes you have to return to the softer version of yourself, the version that believes in it. And now I'm optimistic about it, but I believe it's possible.
It is.
And it's when you're actually not, like most things, it's like the more you're like holding it and trying to suffocate it, forcing it, it's how you end up kind of resenting it. Where do you meet people? Are you inside the house? Are you outside? Are you a little bit of a mix of both? How does that work for you?
I'm a mix of both. I think I was more into apps before, and I think the more that you maybe have visibility in your life, it just doesn't seem as fun to be that person. I'm grateful to say that for the most part, I've been meeting people in real life.
I love that.
And that's the story that I prefer for myself. If you ask, where did y'all meet at? Oh, we was outside and we was here. Like, that's the story that I want. Yeah, that's really the story that I want. So it's a combination. I do want to piggyback off of something you said, though, about you kind of becoming jaded. We talk about this all the time, and it's a generalization, but I do believe that is so true. I believe that women have a superpower to really be able to find the details in the tiniest of things. And for some reason, y'all will clock the details with the man and ignore it as a thing that, like, okay, I see that speck on his clothes, but it'll go away eventually. The minute you see that detail, you have to pay attention to it.
Yes.
And know when to go sooner. Yes.
And that's why it's also important to know your values.
Yeah.
Because for some people, that speck is a deal breaker.
Yeah.
For some people, that speck is, I can deal with this. But you are so right that I was talking to someone, they were in long relationship. And I asked her, okay, well, when did you know that it was done? And she said, oh my gosh, like 2 years before I broke up.
It's
and
like,
so
why?
because you know what I think? We have been conditioned to betray ourselves.
Yes.
That what you're seeing is not, you can't trust that. Both my parents are pastors.
Oh, wow.
They met in Bible college. But my dad before that was a basketball player. So he kind of has the best of both worlds, inside and outside.
Yes.
And he will say, I'm like, but Dad, he didn't say that. And my dad goes, action is the loudest form of communication.
Yes.
So a lot of times you're waiting for them to say, I don't want this. But their actions.
It's proving that.
It's proving that.
Yes.
So I love what you say about when you see something, what is it that's like, it's going to go away? It's
investigate that.
You got to investigate that.
Yeah, you must.
And have you always, I'm someone who, I definitely realized that I used to betray myself. I would see something and I, through my own kind of fixer-upper attitude, would say, oh, we'll get to that later. It always comes back. Have you always trusted yourself? Was there ever a season in your life where you also betrayed yourself for love, for the dream, for something else?
I'm going to be honest with you, not really. One, because it's my life, I'm always coming first. And I'm not shifting that, so how I feel and what I need is important. And I can't change that. And I've come to realize too is anytime I get into a moment where I even have the thought that I have to change something about you, you're not for me.
Yes.
You know, the person for me, I don't need to change how they operate. You know, we're going to evolve together, and I'm very excited to see that growth. And maybe that's just not the love for me. They're the love for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's completely 120% fine.
And I love the differentiation between changing someone and evolving together. Because a lot of times, exactly, it's like we're looking at the same speck on a shirt. To someone who's living in their truth, they say, that's not for me. I wish you the best.
Yes.
For someone who's living in scarcity, they say, wait 1 second. That's not what I want. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to perform.
Yeah, and it's not ever the mindset to have.
Come on.
Never the mindset to have.
I want to talk a little bit about navigating friendships.
Okay.
You're walking down the street and you say, if someone has a problem with you, but instead of having a conversation with you, they pick up the phone and they call someone else and they talk about it, they're a weirdo.
Yes.
Yes.
I remember that.
You remember that one?
Yes.
Talk to me about your experience with friendships. I think a lot of times when we talk about relationships, we tend to really overemphasize romantic ones, but friendships and platonic friendships and community is just as important.
Yes.
How has your relationship with your friends been? Friend breakups, friend highlights. I just love to just go there.
I'm in a really beautiful season where I have so many new people in my life that I really adore. And the more that I'm getting older and leaning into, I'm now in the mid-20s and I'll get into the later 20s, I'm really building the village. And for me, in terms of friendship, I realized I thought I was building a village, but I wasn't really checking out who I had in the community. And so I had people in the community who wasn't really rooting for me. They were nice, nasty, but I was highlighting the nice, not the nasty. You know, I had people around me who I thought they were giving me love, but they weren't really giving me love. They were giving me envy. You know, I had people around me who I thought were really supportive about what I had going on, but when I told them what I had going on, they never showed up. I'm more focused now on who's in the village. And so through that journey, I'm being able to pay attention to, okay, how do we deal with conflict? How do we have conversations as adults? What are your goals? What are your values? Because similarly to romantic and platonic relationship, I have no desire to change you. I want to love you as you show up and be excited for the way in which you evolve. And if I'm not excited for the growth and accepting of where it is today, you're really not my person. And that's also okay.
Yes. Because we talk about, you know, the energy, the envy, the jealousy, and it can be hard if your expectations is we are in community, we're in a relationship, and sometimes, you know, it's someone right there that you're...
Most times.
Yes. And how have you been able, through discernment, through experience, been able to see the difference?
It really depends on who you're dealing with.
Yeah.
You know, I have some friends, like, they've done something, you know, that I wasn't super fond of, and my instinct always is to address it. Because I'm all about a good conversation. And I know that there's some people who's going to be accepting of the conversation. They're going to be real. They're going to take accountability. But then we all have those friends who will gaslight you and pretend they did nothing, though they know they did. Those people, I don't need to talk to you.
Right.
I'm just paying attention to the movement. I'm going to act accordingly. If you're funny, I'm going to be funny with you, like I said in that video. And that's all it's going to be.
Yes.
All of that is delayed behavior. I don't want to operate in a delayed space.
Now, take me through this delayed behavior. What do you mean?
We're too smart for it, so don't act like you're dumb.
We don't got to drag this.
Don't act that way. Because I already know who you are. I know that you're wiser than that. I know that you're better than that. But you're doing little things that are showing me that you think I'm delayed with you. And that's not the reality.
Do you think that, you know, as your platform grows, as you're meeting more people, that you have an open heart to that? Or do you feel like as you've gotten more exposure to just different kinds of dynamics, you're a little bit like... And I understand, yes, we meet people where they are, but where do you meet people? Do you meet people a little bit guarded, and then do they start at 0 or do they start at 100?
They start at 100, I would say.
Same for me.
At least I try to navigate new relationships that way. None of us are perfect.
Yeah, of course.
You know, we're all flawed. We're all going to make mistakes. There are all going to be moments where we're all going to operate in a way that we should not. But my heart is very open to new relationships, open to new connections. I'm not a part of that old generation mindset that you don't need friends. I do need them.
Yes.
And I welcome it. Whichever way it comes, I'm welcoming it.
Let's talk about spirituality.
Okay.
God is so important to you. I love the phone calls. I call mine downloads.
Oh, I love
And
that. Okay.
when do you hear God most?
I hear him every day. The depths of our conversations varies on what's going on in life, varies on what it is that I need. But it is one of the most important relationships for me. And everything around me, I hope, orbits around that relationship being the center of my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's God in my relationship with my mother. There's God in relationship with my friends. There's God in relationship with my partner. And he's a part of my own relationship just with self, period.
Mm-hmm.
Every day. I hear that man every day.
We were talking earlier about, I said that, I was someone who was a really hard worker, and that I think as I really reflect on CultureCon and how big it grew and how it started in my living room, that I think it took CultureCon to actually bring me closer to God, because it was the gap between I'm such a hard worker and what actually actualized that I was able to surrender and to say, it doesn't even feel honest to take credit for this. Do you have a moment where you really kind of looked at like where you were and the gap, and thought like, this is the moment of like surrender, like this is the moment where I really feel that I'm seeing God?
I think it was as the social grew. These were always thoughts in my head in some way, in some fashion. And in the growth, I had to surrender to the fact that what I'm building in my viewership in my community is God. God is community. And that's what I love about CultureCon, because it is a community-based work and God is community.
Yes.
And it's bringing together the people who need a lesson, who need an opportunity, who need a level of understanding, who needs to see themselves in different rooms, in different industries, and in different moments, having different conversations. And that's about what this all is for me. So no matter, what opportunity I get or what deal I get or the person that I meet, God is at the center of it, because this is community work for me. I don't have to sit and pour into people. I do it because I needed it, and no one did it for me.
And I want to talk about that, about being the person that you didn't have.
Yeah.
When did you kind of realize? Because I think sometimes we are doing things out of our gifts, our talent, our spiritual gifts, and it's kind of delayed in terms of people saying, you being who you are has inspired me to be who I am. Do you feel that yet? Like, do you feel that you are a vessel for something bigger? Or is it kind of like right now, I'm not even thinking, that far along?
I do feel that way. And it really does keep me going. And there's, ebbs and flows in being in this whole content thing. And there's been some ebbs and flows where I was like, I don't think I want to do it anymore. And then I meet people who was like, you helped me get out of bed. Or, you changed my life in some way. Or I meet people and they see me and they tear up and I just can't believe it. And I understand that whatever this is so much bigger than me, and it grounds me. And I'm trying to stay true to what the purpose of this all was from the start. It wasn't to be known. It was because something was in my heart. I needed to say it and I knew somebody would feel it. And I'm trying to stay very, very connected to that, because everything else is a distraction from the real work and the real purpose of what this is about. But yeah, it warms my heart. I met a lady the other day and she was like so emotional. I was like, oh my God, please don't do this to me right now, because my heart is so heavy. Don't do this.
Why was your heart heavy?
Just life, Yeah. Just life being life. And it's really difficult when what you do is about uplifting other people. And, sometimes you do want that for you and not feeling like you are receiving it the way you've given it out. And at 25, I've already believed and really have decided to dedicate myself to being that person in people's life, even though they may never meet me and I may never know them. And so sometimes to stand in that reality and give so much to people, and they told you you've given so much to them, and then you sit with like, okay, when is it going to be given back to me? It makes your heart heavy.
Yeah.
But then you go back to your conversation with God, and in this season of my life, when 2025 came up, I made a video about it and I'm standing on it. I don't mind waiting. God, if you're in the house with me, I don't mind waiting to get it. If you're in the car with me, if you're my passenger, I don't mind waiting to drive it off the lot.
Come on.
I don't mind the wait. And so this right now, In so many ways, is a waiting season. Yeah.
I love acknowledging the waiting season. I don't remember the scripture, but they talk about lying in wait, which makes it more active, right, than passive. And I think for so many people, it is what's next? What's coming?
Yeah.
When's it my turn?
Yeah.
One of my favorite people in the Bible is Joseph. And I always think about him being thrown in jail. And there's a part of like, we know how the story ends. We know that he's going to end up in amazing places. But when he's in jail, I mean, we don't have that. How do you survive your waiting season? Like, what do you do? Because I can't imagine kind of being someone who is the light. In a world where oftentimes I'm sure you're like, I actually don't want to pick up the phone today.
That's often.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you navigate your waiting season?
I open my eyes to the beautiful things already around me rather than just focusing on the beautiful things I want to acquire. There's beauty in being the light today. There's beauty in those saying, you've helped me get through. There's beauty in the invite to come here. There's so much beauty in my life. And sometimes you also just have to look back over your life and really realize I'm sitting in what I prayed for already. And so now I have a new prayer, I have a new ask, I have a new request. In the same way I had to wait to arrive here, I have to wait to arrive there too. And it's going to show up when I'm 100% ready for it.
To receive it.
To receive it.
Because if the irony is, you might not be ready for what you're asking for.
So you got to be okay with the wait.
Yeah, you might. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So much of your messaging is to Black women.
Yeah.
And in such a, hey sis, I love you. We got to talk real quick.
Let me hold your hand.
Let me hold your hand.
Yes.
As I say this.
Yes.
And I love what you said earlier when it comes to love. You said we're stern about that because it's important. I feel like if you could talk about, and again, these are generalizations, but what you're seeing when it comes to Black women, it is a very hard time. And I'm not sure if there's ever been an easy time, but it is a very hard time for Black women right now. What does your heart say when you think of Black women and just relationships, the work, the dynamics, the friendships, the economy? It's just, where does your heart go when you think of Black women?
Everything beautiful and gorgeous about me is something that a Black woman implemented in me. And it is the biggest reason as to why any chance that I get to uplift my sisters, I take it and I take it swiftly. I went on this whole tangent one time, really talking about being your sister's keeper. And so when I think of Black women, it's really important that we stand on what sisterhood and being your sister's keeper really is. Internally and externally. It is the requirement of all of us as Black men to make sure that we are standing up and uplifting Black women every chance that we get. It is really important that we are mindful about the way we move and the things we say and how we operate in her space and how we speak in her space. And it's really important that Black women themselves pour into their sisters with the same level of importance. We're not in competition, we're in community. And too often, especially I think more now than ever before, we're throwing that community aspect out. And we have to remember we are our sisters' keepers in everything. Whether it's relationship, whether it's in the job, whether it's in the friendship, everything. And that goes back to the being mindful. We talked about like the kitchen table talk. There's certain mindfulness we have to have when being on public display that we've just tossed out the window. And in doing so, we have publicly disrespected and dishonored our own time in and time again. So of course she questions her worth. She questions her beauty. She questions what she brings to the table, because not only did she hear it from the man that she expected it from, she heard it from her sister who she thought understood.
And again, it's like the buzzword of community, but to your point, it's like what it actually looks like.
In action.
In action. And I think when we think about the sister who is so strong, it's also the assumption that she doesn't need anything, right? And so I think a lot of times when we're thinking about being in community with each other, it also starts with loving ourselves. Yeah. We are so quick to discount what we're doing, what we're working through. Do you have sisters?
No.
What?
No.
So we're all your sisters.
You're all my sisters, yeah.
I'm like, it's so personal. It's so specific.
Yeah, y'all are.
Wow.
And I don't assume y'all are strong. I think that's the problem too.
And yeah, so we were just talking about, earlier, Ike had mentioned, I said, you know what? I would love for a man to open a door for me. He's like, right, because you're so strong. And I said, but I don't want to have to be, right? Like there's something to being protected, to be provided for. And I think what ends up happening with these hot takes, right, is you mention the word provided for, and now we have swung the pendulum to now she's a gold digger. There really isn't a space for us to reside, right?
And what is wrong with that if she is?
Right.
There are so many women who's like, no, I need a man who makes more than me. I need him to be the provider of the house. And if they're not Black, we don't look at them crazy. But when a Black woman says that, that seems to be something that's so insane. I don't understand why.
Right.
If that's what it is that you want. And what I find to also be interesting, a lot of the times the Black women that I know that make that statement are women who provide for themselves anyway, fine.
That's the irony.
Yeah.
Someone said she's a gold. They're like, you're a gold digger. And
no,
she said,
you have gold.
Yeah, she has the gold.
She has the gold herself in her name.
Justin, in another life,
Yes.
What would you be doing if you were not influencing me and your 1 million+ followers?
In another life, before this life entered my way, I was going to go to law school.
Okay.
So I think in another life, that's probably what I would have been doing. That would probably been in law school.
Did you want to be a specific type of lawyer?
It was about the money, so I wanted to do corporate law.
I know, that's right.
Yeah. I wanted to go to Howard.
Oh, yes.
I did.
And then tell me about the pivot. Where did that come about?
Everything just about me and what I wanted from my life just really took a shift. I literally took the LSAT. I was getting ready with my recommendation essays. I was going through the process. I was making my law school essay. I was doing all of the things that you're to do. And just everything shifted. I had a newfound level of visibility, and there were opportunities coming my way. And I said, okay, these are once in a lifetime. I can always go to law school. And my relationship with work really shifted as well. And it was a big realization for me. And I think it was a wake-up call for me, not just from law, but who I was as a person. I wanted to go to law school to say I was a lawyer. It was never to really practice law.
Okay.
And I realized that I operated in my life that way for a very long time. I was so consumed with the optics of things rather than the reality of what the thing is. And that's when y'all got a newfound level of visibility from me and transparency and honesty and openness, because I no longer was obsessed with the title and how it was being perceived and what was assumed when I entered the space. I was more concerned about this is who I truly am. And once I stripped that away, I'm like, I don't have desires to work that hard. I don't want an 80-hour week.
Right.
I don't want to be in the office all day. I don't want to study all day. I don't want law school to be my job. I don't want that for me.
I think it is so important to ask yourself, why do I want this?
What's the intention? Because
you will get on an entire train for an entire life.
Yeah.
And I think that's how we end up seeing the movies where they wake up at 65 and a whole life that they're like, I was told that this is what I wanted.
Yeah, and didn't want it.
And I didn't want this.
Didn't want it at all.
What do you think is the lesson that took you the longest to learn?
That I'm a good person. Yeah, I think for a long time, I've always been an old soul. There's always been a level of honesty that's come from me that some people were willing to receive or not. And I think sometimes when you also are an old soul, people expect you to have a level of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that you don't even have the life experience really to even have had yet. And so most of us as kids ran our mouths too much and said things we weren't supposed to say. But when it came from me, I was mean. I wasn't a nice person. I was cruel. And so this phase of life is so funny because I'm looked at as being one of the kindest people.
I think you're so kind.
Yeah. And it took me a while to realize that I am a nice person. My heart has always been in the right place. And as wise as I seemed, there were still so many lessons that had to be learned. And some people just didn't give me the time to learn that lesson.
Why unpack the being mean, the being cruel?
I have a mouth.
I mean, you are, it's funny that you say that. You are so brilliant. And I think oftentimes brilliant people are either really great comedians or they can be really, really mean because you think so quickly. So by the time someone's over here like, you've already beat them. There's not a chance. And I remember, when I get very excited, I talk very quickly. I can think really quickly. And when me and my mom would go back and forth in high school, I would be at the end of the rope. And what I realized is I was still responsible. Yes, I won in the short term, but what did I win? And I was still responsible for those words. And it allowed me to be kinder because you win, but you really lose.
You do.
How did you kind of come to I've got a mouth, I've got to exercise restraint?
Everything for me is intention. What is the point of what you're getting ready to say? What is the motive here? And it takes time really to have discernment. So there's thoughts, but I shut up. I know what the purpose of my words are, and being smart, being wise, being brilliant, which is so kind for you to say. I appreciate that. I understand the power of my tongue. And I know when in which I should and should not activate. And most times, there's no need for me to. There's real power in the silence of it all. And so I sit back and observe. So now my face says it all, my mouth doesn't.
Oh, yeah. I am a work in progress with my face. My friends be like, fix your face.
One day at a time with me.
Do you have some energy for a quick game?
Of course. I love a game.
So we're going to ask you Justin's favorite things.
Okay.
And you're going to let me know what you like.
Okay.
Okay. What is your favorite day of the week?
Friday.
Friday. Okay. What is your favorite time of day?
I love an 8 o'clock.
Okay. In the morning?
No, PM.
PM. Okay. What is your favorite word?
My favorite word. I don't know why I love the word mischievous.
Ooh.
I just love saying
that's spicy.
Mischievous.
Okay. What's your favorite dating app? I know you're not really on them, but if you were.
I used to be anti, but I'm really loving them right now. Hinge.
Me too.
Hinge is good.
I like Hinge and Bumble.
Hinge is really good.
What is your favorite TV show?
I'm really still obsessed with Scandal.
I love the pilot episode of Scandal.
Yeah.
Where she's like, it's handled.
I love Scandal. I can keep rewatching that.
What's your favorite food?
Sushi.
What is your favorite way to be shown love?
Words of affirmation.
Me too.
Yeah.
I knew that you were going to say that.
Just tell me you see me. I like that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I see you.
I see you too, sister.
You're so amazing. What is your favorite dessert?
I love ice cream, but it's like I can't eat it anymore.
Why?
It bothers me now.
Yep. You can take Lactaid.
Oh, God.
I know.
I'm getting older for real that now ice cream bothers me. For real? I never experienced this.
I know. It is kind of crazy.
Then 25 came. I was like, oh.
We feel it.
We feel it now.
What is your favorite part of this chapter in your life?
There's so much promise.
Yeah.
There was such a season of my life. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know where my life was going. Nothing. I felt passionate really about nothing. I didn't know what was going to happen. And now I feel like if I play my cards right, the world is my oyster. There's possibility.
I am in an optimistic season as well. I love that. Okay. And what is your favorite holiday?
I guess Christmas.
You like the gifts?
Yeah. I just also love that season with the lights and the snow and the
It's so
Christmas.
cozy.
Yeah.
Okay, last but not least, what is your favorite way to say no?
I just say no. I don't struggle with saying no.
Do you sandwich it between?
No. No.
And have you always?
No, I can't do it. No. I'm not going. No.
I just learned this lesson and it feels so good. Especially when the no like compounds. So you say no and then you see what it would have been and you're like, I'm so happy I said no.
No. And people also love it because most people are not that upfront to say it. So it's something that really takes people aback and it makes you stand out in the brain.
I mean, you saw me. I said,
yeah, because I'm not giving any explanation. Would you like to come to? No. No, I won't.
Justin, thank you so much for being here and joining us.
me.
You have such a beautiful spirit and
Thank you.
it was a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you. It's nice to meet y'all virtually.
Bye.